Hi, I'm Kitty, and this is my girlfriend MC, and we're just here to add another one of our stories to this campaign because we really, really want you guys to understand that it does get better.
Yeah, it, like, it doesn't seem like it will, especially in high school. Believe me, I know. I went to a alternative high school in a conservative area of Houston, Texas, and despite the fact that we were alternative, we didn't have a gay-straight alliance, and we had very few out students, and the ones that were out kind of weren't really taken that seriously. So in high school, I just I just never really felt like it would get better. I mean, I knew I was different, but I just didn't ever think that I could be different, in public. I just couldn't ever do that. It just got in high school. It just kind of sucked like that.
On the contrary, my school did have a GSA. I went to a school in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada. So I don't know if the country difference plays a role there or not. I'm sure there are still lots of schools in Canada that aren't quite as liberal and accepting. But we did have a GSA. There was one in the 10th grade. I wasn't a member at that point. I couldn't work up the courage to go. None of my friends would go with me. It kind of fell apart in grade 11 and didn't really exist. And then in grade 12, we had a really good group of co-chairs, one of whom was a really good friend of mine that I had altar served in church with for years and years and years. And through him, I started going that year, and it was one of the best things I ever did in my entire high school career was to start going to GSA. It was such a supportive place and such a safe haven, and I'm so glad I had it. And through them, I met people from other local GSAs, and I learned about the Youth Project, which was an LGBT center in Halifax that hosted different events and stuff, and they're all just amazing resources to have had.
Yeah, I mean, I had my best friend in high school who is also gay, but he was a year younger than I was. And so sometimes there's kind of that conflict. I was about to graduate high school. He was stuck there for another year. I was about to go out there into the world. Maybe I'd find something. Maybe I wouldn't, but I'd still be out of that high school. And so that summer, when we were kind of having some conflicts, that summer was when I met Kitty for the first time.
Yeah, we met through a pretty wide group of mutual friends, all of whom have always been supportive of us individually and together. There was one of them more specifically that we met through, and it was just really helpful. We got close very quickly because we were going through such similar situations.
Yeah, we both just graduated. We were both moving away for university. She was moving out of the province, and I was moving out of my state. And we both knew that we wanted to tell our parents before we left. And so that summer was just kind of us turning into each other's support systems and encouraging each other a lot. Until we just, unintentionally, we came out on the same day.
Yeah. I mean, I was planning to do it that day. There was a few days before that when I had planned to do it then as well, but at that point it was like my last chance to really do it. It was my going away dinner with my mom's side of the family. I was going to tell everyone. I couldn't work up the nerve to do it, so I just told my parents afterwards after everyone left.
Yeah. I kind of told my parents accidentally. It just kind of came out. And they were definitely surprised. They were a little bit taken aback. But I thought they would take it worse than they did. But it went really well, actually. We talked about it. They understood, and they became pretty supportive, despite the fact that I was going to college pretty far away, so the support was kind of limited. But they gave me as much support as they could.
My parents weren't really that surprised. Between my involvement with the GSA that year and just, I guess, various things growing up, they weren't surprised. They were very supportive, and they're still very supportive, and I love them for it. And it helps having family who is there.
Yeah, it definitely does. Just having people around you who know that you're not straight, but who could care less about it. They love you, they support you, and they just want you to be happy. And that's just one of the biggest things that I never really thought I could have. And I never really thought I could know somebody as awesome as Kitty is. And actually, what you're saying, this video is kind of the product of us meeting for the very first time in real life. And we've also been dating for a little bit over a month. And just walking around her campus, holding hands, spending time with our group of mutual friends. And, they care about us, but they'll just say, "Oh, you guys are so cute," and they're happy for us. They really don't care.
Yeah, again, back to the part about walking around on campus holding hands. It's nice knowing that. I mean, you're always gonna find people who don't agree, but there's yet to be any direct confrontation. If anything, it's just people will look away, and I mean, that's fine. Not everyone's going to completely agree with it. But there's still knowing you're safe and knowing it's not going to be a huge issue. It's a big relief, and I know that's not the case everywhere, and I'm very, very lucky to be where I am. But I want people to know that there are places where it's okay, and it's going to be okay, whether you get out of where you are or areas are slowly changing. Places that were very conservative are getting more and more liberal, and I mean, I'm not saying liberal is taking over the world, but I mean it's becoming more common to at least be tolerant, if not accepting, and it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. In high school, I thought it would never get better. Here I am 2 years later, and it's gotten so much better. I couldn't have even imagined this when I was in high school. I could barely even imagine being able to talk to somebody about liking girls more than I like boys, even if at all. And just, it gets so much better. There's hope everywhere out there. There's people you can talk to. Like, for example, in the US, there's the Trevor Project.
That's their phone number and their web address. You've probably seen them mentioned in a lot of the other videos if you've been watching them. I know Chris Colfer from Glee did his video through the Trevor Project, and they're just a really good organization.
Yeah, and I know there's an organization in Canada.
Yes, it's actually an Ontario organization. They're called the LGBT Youth Line, and they have an email address if you're not comfortable calling in, and there's the phone number as well. I'm not positive. I mean, you could email them even if you're not in Ontario. I highly doubt that they would just be like, "Oh, we're not going to answer." I'm sure they would still answer you, but the phone number is an Ontario phone number, so.
Yeah, but even if you just go to Google and you type in LGBT Community Center or help, just followed by wherever you are, there will be at least one listing for something in your local area.
Yeah, even if it's not in your city, it might be the next town over, the next region. There are sources around there, and if it comes down to it, there are also things like Kids Help Phone and Suicide Prevention Hotline, who may not specialize in LGBT issues, but they're still there to listen to you if you need someone. They're not going to turn you away.
Yeah, that's just really the most important thing, I think. People out there, they will listen to you. They will accept you. They will support you, no matter what, most of the time.
People that you've never even met care more than you could ever realize. It's sad when you realize how alone some people feel, because no one deserves to feel that way, and people care. People will always care.
Yeah, it gets better. It gets so much better.
You can beat the statistics, and you deserve to live and be happy and to be in love, and those are human rights. Those are not straight rights or anything like that. Everyone deserves that kind of life.
Yeah.
And it really does get better.